Hello, 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 folks. My name is Octavian. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. And welcome to episode 65 of 100 casts, if I'm keeping track correctly, which I think I am at this point. The duck! The duck spawned in this game. That's great. There's a duck that spawns in the river that has a chance, I believe 1 in 8, though my numbers may be entirely wrong, but has a chance of spawning in any game of League of Legends, and you know it's a good game when the duck comes along to watch as well. We have 5 members from Red Team roaming in to the enemy jungle. Blue Team's a bit more scattered across the map. Nidalee will spot them out there. Georgian Legend seems to be AFK, though. This is unfortunate. Maybe had the shop open, maybe alt-tabbed while walking into lane. Either way, it does end up with Ofed already getting a kill. That is exactly where they wanted it as well. Or no, that wasn't Ofed, that was Reuven V2, who is playing Riven V1, since there's only one of them. Still, a good place to have a first blood, especially against a Scion lane, which can get fairly snowbally. And I'm excited for this game because of a few reasons. First off, it is higher level than most of the replays that I get for 100 casts. It's taken from Diamond 2 over on the EUS servers. Now, usually replays in this one average somewhere around silver, which makes sense, seeing as the player base for League of Legends averages somewhere around low silver, high bronze. And I have no problem with that. I enjoy casting those games, but they're usually bloodbaths, and by the end I often have a sore throat. Now, that's not to say that a Diamond 2 game can't also be bloodthirsty as all get out, but hopefully it'll be a bit quieter, and I won't have to strain my voice just giving the game justice, you know? Though that can be fun sometimes as well. It just means that I don't get a lot of color casting practice in. And I focus a good amount more on play-by-play on those particular episodes. Dirk dashing on in, off the distortion pad. And this is going to be a Cho'Gath versus LeBlanc mid lane. Cho'Gath already getting the edge in that one, which is interesting. Not really known for his laning presence against someone who's actually a pretty decent lane bully. Here comes Reuven V2, making good use of that first blood. Final Flame going so very low and didn't bring flash. That is going to be Reuven picking up the kill. I'm probably mispronouncing that because there's an umlaut over the U. Anyways, Pungsaken now getting tumbled forwards onto. Ofed with that final stack is going to have a timeout before he turns around for the auto. Was trying to just break vision. There's the heal, the ebb and flow as well. Red Team staying pretty healthy in this matchup. The exhaust was dropped fairly late, though, as Kegs is actually going to go down, as Janna takes down Ofed with the help of a cannon minion showing up just in time. Hero cannon minion there. Blue Team winning the incredibly extended 2v2. Dirk dashes on him but gets silenced, so can't throw out to chain until perhaps it's a little bit too late. The ignite drops, and he's forced to back off. Though he didn't use any summoners in that engagement, so that is actually advantage over to him in terms of cooldowns, but certainly not in terms of health. Especially considering he is, of course, against a Cho'Gath. As long as he has access to a minion wave, has access to health and mana as well. Carnivore, being Cho'Gath's passive, allows him to sustain in lane a lot easier than LeBlanc can. As you can tell by the fact that his health is already nearly back up to full. And that is why LeBlanc. So I was looking at the top lane, I got distracted by the fact that Reuven is the name, Riven is the champion. There's so many variations on that word in this game. There's 2 of them. That's so many. That's a lot. More than usual. Georgian Legends here just to hold, since we did see Dirk head on home back to base. Didn't really have an option in that one. Axe doesn't land as Reuven dashes away from it, and Scion is just fighting for what CS he can because Reuven is able to dash on in and do tons of damage to him whenever he feels like it. However, Scion was turning around and trading fairly evenly as well. Pungsaken now being the target of those 3 stacks, whether it's the 3 stacks from the Nami or the 3 stacks from the Vayne. Tumble forward, doesn't quite get the auto, flash forward from the Vayne to finish off the kill. Here's the bubble back onto Kerasis to keep Ofed safe, and actually to buy time for Mad Freak to show up. Chilling Smite lands, the red buff is burning, but a nice spear from Georgian Legends, who comes roaming out of the jungle. Half of Mad Freak's health gone, but there are far too many minions to consider a fight there. Georgian Legends is far too low on mana. Ofed tumbling forward, has the strength of this double minion wave behind him, and so burns away a lot of Karisis' health. One more proc, and there it goes. Georgian Legends takes some good damage himself, and Mad Freak is actually sitting in the bush, waiting maybe for an opportunity, but he doesn't realize that it's warded. So I don't think an opportunity will present itself because of that. He's being very patient, and that's actually not going to be too good for him, because not realizing this is warded, he's wasting a lot of time here. Punsak and Karisis are not going to go for this fight, knowing that there's a Lee Sin waiting in the wings. Here comes Reuven. Third proc of Broken Wings does land. Gets knocked up herself, though. His Final Flame turns back around. And the top laners are entering Wet Noodle mode. However, Riven is ahead by 12 CS and does have the level 6 advantage. Key Strike lands. Wind Slash not quite in range to kill him, though. So Sion will be able to escape. There's another trade in the mid lane. Goes in favor of King Magnus. Over and over. This is a beautifully played lane Cho'Gath here. Especially against LeBlanc. So difficult to land those ruptures, land those silences. He's been placing them really, really well. Whenever LeBlanc comes in on the distortion, he feral screams instantly. And that means that she just can't follow up after her combo. And he can turn around, land the rupture, place it where she would just... Well, actually, no, she can't distort back. Because she's silenced, she can't reuse the launch pad from her W. So it makes it a ton easier for him to land that knock up. The spear comes flying out, and it landed! Oh, the camera swapped away. And just a moment there. Actually, I want to swap back over to Nidalee. She's wearing a blue buff. Ladies and gentlemen, Georgian Legends is a legend. Presumably in Georgia. And near that blue buff camp. Karisis playing really aggro here. Gets hit by the bubble. Some good damage from the Nami alone. And Mad Freak once again is waiting in the wings. He spent a lot of time standing near this bottom lane, but not very much time actually damaging any of the enemy bottom laners. It means he's at level 4 and only has 9 CS to Georgian Legends 30. To be fair, Nidalee did die once, but that was during an AFK death in the very beginning of the game. Not the most impactful death. Gave a first blood over to Riven, which has snowballed top lane a bit. So perhaps I should take that back. It was fairly impactful, but not to Nidalee, per se. It was far more impactful to the top lane, which Nidalee has not actually gone to visit at all. Neither jungler has. It's been something of an island. Karisis avoiding the third proc, actually. And the knockback goes into the minion. Thankfully, the bubble did land. Mad Freak leaping over the wall, but finds LeBlanc waiting for him. Gets snared up. Red buff is burning onto him. Can the spear land? It does indeed. Georgian Legends even predicting where he was going to flash to. Toss the spear over there and picks up the kill. This guy, he's good at aiming. I'll give him that. Making up for that earlier misstep. Oh, there goes in the Scion ult, but just kind of walks right back out again. For such a blood-hungry champion, Final Flame is a little bit scared here. Reuven coming on in, and there's good reason. Flashing away, as blue team does get the dragon, at least. But Final Flame is falling farther and farther behind. It's just getting more and more difficult for him to actually lane there. That's a 20 CS lead for the Riven. That's 3 kills up. That's a brutalizer completed. This is going to be a rough champion to deal with for blue team. I don't know if they really have a good answer. Got some burst in the form of the LeBlanc and the Nidalee, but Punsak, he doesn't have anywhere left to go. Got hit by the wrong bubble. Didn't have flash up. Heal wouldn't have saved him. And you know, sometimes it's as simple as that. Sometimes it's just you didn't dodge the skill shot, so now you're gonna die. That can happen with things as impactful as the orb. The aquatic orb. And we do see tossed out by Nami time and again. There goes Georgian Legends. Farming up his jungle. He did go with the Ranger's Trailblazer, which is a bit odd. I would have expected the Chilling Smite option out of a Nidalee. Just for that extra little bit of CC. The one thing that Nidalee is lacking as a jungler, she has good wave clear, she has good map control, both with the traps and the fact that she can leap around very quickly. But her ganks are a bit lacking, simply due to the lack of CC. Final Flame turns around, only lands 1 auto for the 3 traded onto him. Does get the explosion from his shield, but Reuven will be able to sustain some of that back up with a little bit of lifesteal. Ooh, kegs! Oh no, he doesn't make it over the wall with the flash. Dirk, it's just a matter of time until Distortion is available once again, or Georgian Legends comes out of the jungle with a spear. None of the work, all of the payoff. But hey, having kills on Italy almost as good, equally as good in some cases, as having them on a LeBlanc does mean that Magus is completed. I think that was completed before he came out. But means that he has more gold on top of the Magus to spend on other things. More vision control. Hopefully he's got a Sightstone that might be, or rather a Ruby Crystal that might be going to a Sightstone. Wouldn't be surprised. A lot of junglers have been picking that up lately, which I'm very happy with. I think that vision, while one of the more passive mechanics in the game, is one of the more fun ones. As a shoutcaster, personally. Oh, Mad Freak, you can't handle this. There's too much damage coming out of Pungsaken. Scion ult goes off, but that's up in the top lane. We're still focused down here. The exhaust onto Ophed. Bubble doesn't quite connect on anybody. Nice Monsoon knocks back all three members of Red Team. Pungsaken and his friendly Janna Carices have been doing a great job of fighting off that particular 3v2. Here comes Reuven. The Scion ulti is down and all of his mana is gone, so he cannot take this fight. Probably couldn't have taken it with those resources. Reuven is going mad up here. Georgian Legends is nearby, though. Flash forward for the pounce and then for the execute. Takes a big bite out of Riven. Gets a lot of gold in return. Georgian Legends 3-1-0. Gonna have to be the answer to this Riven. Really, there's no other place I can see that answer coming from. The Jinx is too immobile. Even though Pungsaken has been doing pretty well, does have a CS lead and a kill, even in kills, with his counterpart. Just the champion matchup alone. Even if Pungsaken were doing as well as the Riven, had 4-1-0, had as much of a CS lead, he would be hard-pressed to match up against this fed of a Riven, because, simply put, Jinx doesn't have the tools to deal with that matchup. Nidalee perhaps does. She has quite a bit of mobility. She can skirmish much, much better than a Jinx can. Though to be fair, a Jinx does have the tools to deal with a Riven through ways that aren't direct combat. Being the backline for her team and putting out consistent damage. Getting peeled for by a Janna. Hopefully, that'll be enough to keep Reuven off. Because otherwise, it could be some very, very unfortunate teamfights moving forward if Reuven gets into a good position. And blue team isn't able to appropriately peel for Pungsaken. Lots of pings on the bottom side from both teams. Georgian Legend sitting in a bush, doesn't realize that they see him, but gets out of there soon enough to avoid any foolhardy mistakes. The zap doesn't land, safeguarded away from. There's the spear, there's the ulti, and Pungsaken will pick up a kill. Explosion off of Mad Freak as Georgian Legends once again shows up his sniping skills. Fourth kill of the game. Well deserved. And they're going to reverse that pressure that Red Team had been building over the past minute or so in the bottom lane. Slowly devoting resources down there. And turn it into a turret of their own. They do lose the crab to King Magnus, but he's going to get knocked up. Dirk is coming in. This is an AP Cho'Gath. He's got a Rod of Ages, so it's a bit of tankiness, but he has no resistances to his name. If they can catch on to him before he gets under his turret, just a little bit more damage. King Magnus will be going down. Carices takes that kill. Now Reuven coming in on a Final Flame. Body blocks the ulti, so he has nowhere to run. And just turns around and stuns the passive. Lets him take a few minions, but taunts him otherwise. And that is the 5th time this Scion has perished in the matchup. And with each continual death, it gets a little bit harder for him to hold his own there. But the thing is, we haven't seen Reuven use that teleport. We haven't seen any pressure across the rest of the board here. And blue team has a gold lead because of it, I would say. If you get this far ahead, especially as somebody is potentially snowballing as a Riven, whoa! The damage onto Georgian Legends is returned in kind by the turret. And because it was burned earlier, there's no ult from Riven. Had there been, that Nidalee could have been in a lot of trouble, but thankfully it wasn't up. Mad Freak looking for the invade. Knows Georgian was a little bit low from that fight, but I don't think he can take this. No, this 1v1 is going in favor of the LeBlanc and the Nidalee. And it looks like Georgian Legends actually predicting that invade. He was waiting in the bush. He knew it was coming. And he didn't have any vision either. That's red team's vision all over that area. Up on the top side of the map there. There's a pink, there's 2 greens from red team, and not a single one from blue. Well, as soon as I say that, I have to eat my words as the long places one. But just good presence of mind, prediction by Georgian Legends to realize what Lee Sin might be thinking after that fight. And take advantage of it, honestly. Trailblazer's Smite onto the blue buff gave him back a chunk of health as well. Just good usage of his resources overall. Dirk gets chunked away by that Feral Scream. His auto attack's not really doing much to a Cho'Gath, but the chains are doing a bit more. Trades evenly in terms of health, percentage-wise, not flat numbers. Cho'Gath lost a lot more in terms of flat numbers, because he has more to lose. Ooh, the very edge of that knockup landed, so the spear connects as well. Reuven turning around, trying to salvage something from this. But Georgian Legends is unstoppable, and that has been the story of this game. However, Ophed is going aggressive. Pungsack and Exhausts have been traded. There's the cleanse. Doesn't quite keep him alive, as he does have to burn Flash as well. King Magnus now getting dove in the middle. Dirk gets that kill as the Tornado knocks up 3 members of Red Team, and Pungsacken is still alive along with Carissa's. He's turning around onto Ophed, doesn't quite get the kill. Goes down in the end, but good lord, that took so much longer than it should have. Mad Freak finally getting something for all of the repeated attempts to gank bottom lane. But it does work out for him in the end, and they might be able to get this turret as well. And there is a Nidalee and a Janna sitting off behind it. Janna already difficult to push through because of those Eye of the Storm shields onto the turret. Georgian Legends is here to back up as well. Mad Freak going in. He wants to kick him back, but Georgian Legends positioned near the wall, and so he gets the kill. Now Final Flame is coming in. The ulti was burned, but he is still tanky, even despite the lost lane. Maybe Reuven has enough damage alongside Ophed. They do get the tower dive, and Reuven V2 will pick up the kill. But a 5-death Scion, not exactly the highest priority target. Georgian Legends doesn't want to continue on this chase. Maybe with Dirk around there, Reuven turns around, gets the burst. However, Dirk, with a shield from the Janna, and with a little bit of leisure domain himself, might be able to escape out of this one. Distortion away to the side. King Magnus will settle for a kill onto the Janna. And Georgian Legends might be in more trouble, and he realizes here comes a Cho'Gath from the side. Nope, he's just going to go farm minions. What am I talking about? You don't chase the Nidalee into the jungle. Not as Cho'Gath. Minions are much easier to eat. Nidalee is difficult to prey. Minions are easy. And still delicious. They explode into gold whenever you eat them. Pungsacken gonna farm out some Krugs, try and continue to hold onto that CS lead. And it's gonna be a battle of which AD carry scales better into the late game. It's a Vayne versus a Jinx, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure how that matchup goes. I think the Vayne will be doing better, if only by virtue of having more mobility. Shorter range, of course, which could make all the difference. It really depends on how these fights start. If it starts with a pick, if Pungsacken is caught out, or if Ophed is caught out, I think Ophed has the better of that situation. However, if it starts in a more organized fashion, and Pungsacken is able to survive through the first good portion of the team fight, he will do more damage than Ophed would in a similar situation to that. Simply because he has AoE rockets, he can purge out that damage more quickly, and he has the ability to execute people again in AoE with his ulti. It's just a matter of how the team fights play out. Both of these AD carries certainly capable of putting out huge tons of damage, but slightly different in terms of execution. Vayne the better duelist, and Jinx the better team fighter, I would say. Pungsacken going in, and this is a duel, so Ophed might want to take this one, but it really depends. Nami was caught out a bit, lost a bit of health, and Vayne is low on mana. So I think they're just going to go ahead and try and farm it up here. Avoid a fight where they can. Wait, perhaps, for Mad Freak to devote some more time to the bottom lane. He has seemed to enjoy showing up down here. As Georgian Legends continues to devote time to clearing out the jungle. That's Health Crystal went into a Rod of Ages and not a Sightstone, but still a good pickup. Whoa, Pungsacken with a massive crit onto both bottom laners. However, it will not be enough. Mad Freak is coming in. The ulti keeps him alive a little bit longer, fires off his own, but it doesn't connect. And Carissa's, despite all his best efforts, will go down to a well-placed gank from Mad Freak. Everything going to form. that particular time. Georgian Legends gets caught out off to the side, cannot take the 1v1 with Reuven. Might be able to escape it, though. Is Nidalee does have a lot of leaps, but Riven has a lot of leaps as well. 500 gold in Reuven's pockets will continue to escalate the lead he has, and the shield dash keep him safe. Actually, is he going to turn around onto this one? He's going in. The third proc of Broken Wings does land. Dirk turns around, though, and he has burst. If there's one thing LeBlanc has, that is it. He does get the kill, and Final Flame gets canceled out of his charge. King Magnus silencing him, but can't silence the second one. Lower cooldown for Final Flame, but Dirk, why? Oh, God. Dashed right into the face of a hungry Cho'Gath. There is but one fate awaiting someone who does that, and that is being dinner. Final Flame now slowed up by the red buff, might be in some trouble as Ophed is coming in, and he can shred those tanks. King Magnus might be going down, stunned up against the wall. The passive is available, though. This is a Scion, but can Cho'Gath create the distance he needs to? The health is chunking away, and it looks like Magnus will be able to get out of there clean. Well, cleanly is the wrong word. We'll be able to get out of there very, very closely, with a lot of clumsiness, but he managed it. And LeBlanc delivered him a snack, right on a tasty silver platter, right to his face, so oh, that was nice of him. Good of Dirk to do that. Well, bad if you're on Dirk's team. But he's been performing well up until this point. He's 3-0, behind a little bit in CS, or 3-0 he was, now he's 3-1. Croesus getting slowed up. Ophed tumbles forward, and that's enough to scare away the flash from the fish. Or rather, the Janna. Because of the fish. Mixing up my supports here. Broken Wings. Might actually prove enough. Reuven wants this fight. Steps on a trap on his way there, but Georgian Legends can't make it over the wall! No. Reuven V2 will get the kill. As Croesus doesn't quite get knocked up. Avoids the rupture. And avoids a very grisly fate. Mad Freak is looking to close the distance here. Takes a tower shot and a knock-up and an auto from Pungsaken for his trouble. Flashes in onto Pungsaken, knocks him back. Oh, the damage is there, but can it kill him? Mad Freak over the wall. With the final auto attack, King Magnus now in a bit of trouble. Does land the knock-up, but it's after he himself goes up in the air. And Dirk finishes off Mad Freak overall. A 2-for-1 trade there. In favor of blue team. Mad Freak saw an opening and he went for it, and he did finish off the kill, but blue team just had more reinforcements close by. Croesus, this is very dangerous. The bubble lands, but we don't have Vayne chasing after him because Ophed sees a different target here. Final Flame in a 2v1 that he just can't handle. However, maybe the 3v1 will rectify that. He goes into the death passive. Can he turn around into Ophed? He's chunking away those health points. Oh, Reuven. Nothing but a summary wind slash is needed to finish the kill. LeBlanc, though, over the wall. Gets the shutdown, turns around with the chain. Gonna be enough to scare off the Riven as Croesus actually comes in for an auto attack in his effort. Reuven is just taking chunks of damage until Pungsaken shows up for the real stuff. The real stuff being a few rockets that explode with a lot of damage. And critical hits as well. The Phantom Dancer Infinity Edge trusting in RNGesus to show him the way to victory. And the way to victory is full of explosions, bullets, and lots of death. Preferably for the enemy team. Dragon will be up in about 15 seconds. Most likely going to be going to red team, but if blue can get this pick on the King Magnus, the chain is about to proc the zap lands as well. Croesus actually picks up that one. Spear doesn't land on a Mad Freak. Not quite. Safeguards over the wall, but that's going to be a very dangerous area very soon as the dragon is showing up, and I think both teams have this timer. Georgian Legends finishing off the red buff as Croesus is there to get some vision on that pit. Gets stunned against the wall, though. Ophed chunking away half his health already. There is some heal from Legends right now. Crab buff going over to red team, so they have guaranteed vision in this area. And Scion is basing. His teleport is up, so he can join if necessary. Lee Sin gets the steal. Beautiful. Now, can they clean up anything else? Georgian Legends going on in for the execute. Solo kill from Riven. On to the Jinx. That lack of mobility not paying off there. As Dirk flashing forward, going for some mobility of his own. On to Ophed, does get the kill. 2-for-2 trade so far between the teams. Reuven is going pretty low. Gets knocked up once, gets knocked up twice, gets taken down once. The chain lands on Tanabe, holds her up, and a double buff LeBlanc is not something you escape from. Dirk gets the triple kill, coming up big and cleaning up this fight for his team. That looks nearly disastrous otherwise. The lack of a Cho'Gath there, really impactful, as I said. That kill was going to mean a lot coming towards this dragon fight. Good on Lee Sin to be able to continue to steal that, though. Means the permanent stack does go over to red team, but a few more kills in the pocket of Dirk makes him even more of a threat. And he's going to need to be one to deal with this Vayne, who's starting to scale pretty hard. Blade of the Rune King and a Phantom Dancer means a lot of attack speed, and a little bit of RNG of her own, with a crit cloak on there, on top of it. The Extery seems to be giving me a few issues, but hopefully those will resolve. Been messing around with different recording programs recently. Trying to find one that works best for you guys. I want the highest quality video possible. Zephyr lands. The knockup does as well. Mad Freak is going to go down. One more auto. There it is. Dirk is dominating. And he just goes right back to his original launch pad. There's the Titan Wave. Punksacking gets hit by the edge of it as Carissus finds himself in an unfortunate situation. Reuven now in the 1v2 does dodge out from a spear, dodges out from the shout as well. Another spear doesn't quite find its mark. Reuven is just playing these guys for fools. Dashing around and avoiding everything. He's barely been touched, and this has been going on for the better part of a minute. Finally, a spear lands, but he actually shielded it just in time, so he still hasn't lost very much health. He's going to turn around with the ulti running. Does get hit by the knockup. Turns around one more time. Can he land on a Georgian Legends? Cancels the Wind Slash with a Q. Really good use of the Riven cooldowns there. He might be in some trouble here as Dirk is coming in. The ult doesn't quite land. Whiffs off to the side. Dirk is godlike. Finally finishes off the kill into Riven, but it's taken so very long. Red team is assembling up here. Pungsaken gonna go down to Ophed. He turns around. His attention is on Final Flame, and he's doing huge chunks of damage with those silver bolts, or I suppose golden, with the Arclight Vayne skin. Kick over the wall onto the Scion passive. No chance of that paying off as Carissus all alone and in a lot of trouble. Another Q lands, but he is fairly tanky. That's a good amount of health for a Janna. Sightstone and Lock of the Iron Solari. Oh, bubble lands. Don't really want to turn around under this kill, though. They place more value on stealing away this blue buff and making sure that that goes into their pockets, and rightfully so. It is a valuable objective to have, and Carissus would be a very difficult kill to chase down, especially that close to a secondary turret. Not really worth the time and effort. Instead, better to take the guaranteed objective that gets them that little bit farther ahead, or that little bit farther out from behind, as blue team does still have the gold lead here. But honestly, that kind of gold lead in this sort of game, not really too impactful. 2,000 gold, it's more really about the champion matchups at this point, and about item builds as well. Speaking of which, Cho'Gath built a Luden's Echo, and seeing that item become a lot more popular in a lot of different champions. Some people really bashed it hard when it came out, saying that it wouldn't be amounting to much at all, but there's Georgian Legends going over the wall as Kex might be in some trouble. Dirk trying to burst him down, does get taken down himself, though, by the Cho'Gath damage. Ophed is on a killing spree. He's dashing forward, flash away from Carissus to avoid the knockup. Final hour is going to time out, but it was put to good effect, as he managed to get at least one kill out of it, and that's not too long of a cooldown. Can he make it another one? Pungsaken getting chunked away. Whoa! Kegs nearly fell. So close on that Nami. However, didn't quite go down. And close only counts in horse grenades and hand shoes, not in League of Legends. Hand grenades and horseshoes. Horse shoe grenades. And horses. Those. Anyways, red team is going for the Baron. They have Ophed, who has silver bolts, or golden bolts, as the case may be, and so that is going to be melted down incredibly quickly, like a pat of butter set out on a hot Houston day. And they'll turn their attention to mid lane. This Cho'Gath, becoming quite massive here, and does good damage, seeing as he's an AP Cho'Gath. A little bit low on the tankiness. He looks like he has a ton of health, and that's, well, I suppose because he has a ton of health, but That health isn't backed up by much, to be fair. King Magnus not really huge in the resistances department, as you can see by the fact that Dirk just chunked away a third of his health with only 2 spells. And the Sigil didn't even proc there. Or did it? No, the Sigil did proc off the first connection of the Ethereal Chain. The second connection of the Ethereal Chain didn't proc. So not the total damage that could have come out of those spells. Whoa! Speaking of total damage, Dirk is going to take away all of Vayne's health. Dancing around, too, trying to avoid the return from Red Team. Mad Freak flashing into kickback, rather. Pungsaken, but he just about survives with the help of Ajana. Riven V2 having burnt everything. I don't know if he can take this fight anymore. He is getting chunked away by those rockets. They are critting hard. Pungsaken believing in RNGesus right now with a double kill, dashing on forward with his passive. The red buff is burning, and King Magnus is not going to be able to escape this one. None of his skill shots landing, none of his health mattering. Pungsaken picks up a triple kill, picks up the ace for his team. Blue will go and finish off the dragon for good measure. The guy that started this whole fight, that innocuous dragon spawning. He doesn't mean to do it. But he is such a nexus of bloodshed and warfare. Bloodfare and warshed. I'm just really good with words today. Pungsaken is on a rampage. Woo! That guy is hurting. Did you see that Vayne's health go away? It did not want to be there anymore. It saw what was going on, and it just skedaddled right on out of there. No, sir, I do not want any more rockets. I would prefer instead to take a nap. And that is what Ofed did. A very, very abrupt nap. Lying down on the ground in his own base. That will be the middle lane inhibitor turret falling. The middle lane inhibitor still up. They didn't manage to take that one down, so the free pressure is not there yet, but it's not too far from their reach. And does Luden's Echo proc off of... Yeah, it does. Hang on. Luden's Echo gains charges upon moving or casting. Next spell hit. Not technically magic damage hit. Spell hit. So, King Magnus gets extra magic damage off of his ulti if it's the first spell to hit in any given situation. That's interesting. Luden's Echo buffs up the Cho'Gath ulti. Makes his feast hurt more. If he plays his cards right. I'm just a little bit surprised at the Luden's Echo and Magnus. That is why I keep on bringing it up. Whoa! Half his health gone. Another chunk of it gone as well. And there's Pungsaken with the snipe. Well, it's pretty easy to snipe when your rounds are explosive and gigantic, but still. Credit where credit is due. The Zephyr lands on a Mad Freak. A spear connects as well. Speaking of Luden's Echo. Another spear tossed out. These are on a fairly short cooldown now. Georgian Echoes. Georgian Legend, rather, is doing a huge amount of damage. That inhibitor is now going to be exploding. Falling to pieces. And the blue team might be able to take home the cake here. Very, very delicious victory cake. No, they're going to choose to back off, actually. But with no real objectives up otherwise. Bottom lane and top are both far too pushed against them to actually consider those. They'll peel off, check the enemy jungle. Find nothing waiting for them there aside from a Gromp. And I suppose regroup for the next fight, head on home back to base, pick up items if necessary and if possible. Really only Janna is sitting on a significant chunk of gold, though I suppose 1300 is pretty significant as well. Could maybe finish the last Whisper off of that. Which would be a pretty big buy. Sell the Doran's Blade, complete the last Whisper. I think there's enough gold there for that. Is that a banner of command? That's a banner of command. Where is that? That's on the Nami. Interesting. Now, I wouldn't have done that. Not against a Jinx team, because Jinx can take down that minion way too easily. Long range physical damage is what you need to take down a Banner of Commanded minion. They're immune to magic damage, and they have decent resistances and a good amount of health, but the immunity to magic damage is the biggest thing. Now, against a Jinx, that's not going to matter. She'll just fire off rockets from a distance and take it down anyways in 2 or 3 auto attacks, as you saw there. So, bit of a questionable buy. Final Flame coming on in onto King Magnus again. This Cho'Gath has been caught out 3 times in a row now. First time it led to a dragon, second time it led to an inhibitor turret, and this time, who knows what it might lead to. Everything is on the table. Blue team is looking to take as much as red team is willing to give. And then probably some after that as well. Nice spear. Chunks away Mad Freak a little bit. Knockup doesn't quite land as one Nexus turret falls. Pumsakin critting again and again. Mad Freak gets taken down. The last bit of damage from Dirk. Here comes Riven V2. Whoa, the damage! The AoE! Can they win this fight? Ophed is going in. This is a late game Riven and Vayne combo, folks. Beautiful engagement. Just gorgeous engagement. That is exactly what Red Team needed. That was the ace in the hole that would bring them back into this match. They're going to go ahead and push up mid lane. They are against super minions. This might prove a bit difficult, but Vayne can chunk them down. The attack speed is there. The burst is there. They have AoE wave clear as well because of Riven. How much can they take off of this? There are 10 to 25 second death timers still remaining on blue team. They're going to at least get this inhibitor turret. They probably will get the inhibitor after as well. They have a lot of damage to throw at this thing. Looks like they're going to be backing off Baron up in 20 seconds, Dragon up in 50. And then Baron command again. Probably not going to be too impactful, but blue team actually heading to the bottom lane. They've got 3 members down there. Baron's up in 5 seconds. Reuven is heading back to base. Magnus is heading back to base. I don't think the red team can take this. They're pinging bottom lane now, though. Ophed canceled his base. There's the teleport. They're going to be starting this thing, and blue team is nowhere nearby. They don't have any vision here. This could be disastrous. Red team is going to be getting this Baron. It's down incredibly low. There's no chance at all. That freak picks that one up easily. Nobody can test. Blue team investing more in pushing up that bottom lane and going for this dragon, which will be up in 4 seconds, and they'll get it. Don't get me wrong. Even with that Q not connecting from Final Flame, they will get this dragon, but it's only the 3rd stack. That's not as impactful as a Baron is right now. Especially on a team that's behind and trying to defend. Preventing red team from getting that Baron would have been way, way more important than getting the dragon themselves. They will push up bottom lane, and they're likely to get this outer turret. I don't see red team defending here. Actually, they might have to. Nami gets knocked up. The chain connects. They're looking to engage this fight further, but the Nami disengage is there, as is the Lee Sin. A few knockbacks later, and red team will be able to recover from what could have been a stumble. They'll lose this outer turret here, but that's fine. They kind of have to give this one up. But they have the Baron buff, and they can defend at the inhibitor turret at least. They need to get another miraculous engage. King Magnus landing a great rupture. Another good broken wings into 4 or 3 from Reuven. The blue team is playing far more scattered. This is really smart from blue. They have Nidalee over the wall chucking spears. They have LeBlanc waiting around to come in. They aren't holding as a unit. And so Reuven's going to have a much harder time getting an engage like that. There's Mad Freak. He looked for something, but he's going to be backing out. Didn't quite find what he wanted, and Magnus caught off alone again! The picks onto this Cho'Gath over and over again. Magnus had a great laning phase, but has been falling off as we move forward. Carissa's now gets hit by the Q, but that is not the target they want. Dirk dealing some great damage as the spear connects as well. And red team just has to back up here. His Final Flame is not going to even give them that option. He's going in under the turret, but he gets bubbled. He gets stunned against the wall. Final Flame's health is going away. The damage from Pumsakin is there until Lee Sin, but Ophed hasn't been touched. And I think that means they'll be able to hold this one off. The banner of commanded Baron buffed minion. That thing looks terrifying. It's the size of LeBlanc. And yeah, blue team is going to have to back off here despite getting another good pick onto the Cho'Gath. They aren't able to do anything with it because they have minions rushing up the mid lane. Their inhibitor hasn't respawned yet, and red team's has. Reuven V2, with that play earlier, has just held on tenaciously onto this game. And red team still has a chance to come back into this one. It's still a bit of a long shot. But not nearly as long as it used to be. Now they've got to run across a football field. Last time, they had to cross the entirety of the state of Texas or something like that. Paltry in comparison. Okay, maybe that was a bit over-exaggerated, but you know what I mean. It's it's gone a long way towards helping them get back. And Carissa's wasted a Zephyr there. Carissa's, I thought you knew better. You cannot deal magic damage to a banner of commanded minion. The Zephyr not really going to matter. It's already back up, and the mana cost is not impactful at this point, but still technically wasted the Zephyr. So, tisk tisk tisk, Carissa's. They're sitting in the bush looking for a pick. Red team is not going to fall for that one. They are grouping as 5 off to the side there. They've got to make it as difficult as possible to kill Ophed. He is their consistent damage. Because despite the fact that Reuven V2 got the huge engage there, it was Ophed who cleaned up that fight. He got the quadra kill. So good pickup for the Banshee's Veil. That'll help a long way towards shutting down this LeBlanc. And good choice to be pushing the bot lane right now. They have one more super minion cascading down the mid lane, I believe. Actually, I'm going to check that right now. Well, we have a lull. No, doesn't look like it. That was actually their last wave of super minions just before then, so. They don't have any free pressure anymore. They'll have to make a play here if they want to invest in this bottom lane. Tornado comes in, doesn't find any targets. LeBlanc is positioning up there, if you looked out on your minimap, trying to get around. Maybe Mad Freak is the target here. Does good damage. Half of his health gone. The spear doesn't connect, though. Nice double knockups. Here comes Final Flame, comboing that with the Super Mega Death Rocket. Pungsaken doing his best to dodge around everything. Hasn't been touched yet. Ophed now coming in to try and rectify that. Chunks away his health. He's unstoppable. He's going on to Dirk. The Zonia's Hourglass will keep him safe a little bit longer. Double kill for the Vayne. Hasn't been targeted by any CC. Triple kill for the Vayne. Quadra kill for the Vayne. Is this the Vayne Penta that brings them back to the victory? Yes, it is. Ophed with the pentakill and beautiful positioning. Playing the front line Vayne there. And there was nothing blue team did about it. The banner of command minion is going to mean that they can push in onto these turrets. They have no fear. This is a victory for red team if I've ever seen one. Beautiful, beautiful 2 team fights there. Reuven V2 the hero in the first one, and then Ophed the hero in the second. If I had to pick an MVP, I really couldn't, folks. This game has been wonderful. I hope you all enjoyed as much as I did. I will see you next time. Thank you again for watching. My name is Octavian.